did see that on
Okay. And then I've got, let's see if I can show you one more. I This picture, let's see if I can enlarge it.
Oh my gosh, that's
This
amazing.
is not even this. You see how there's all these spaces in the middle?
Mhm.
Uh, by the time they were speaking, and there was actually it was going, there was no space whatsoever. There were no paths. We had to because we had to try to catch up to Senator Ashby right after she spoke, Diana and I, and there was like we had to say, excuse me, there was literally no room. So this is thin. It is,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
as
NPR the local Cap radio had a report on um, on all the protests on Saturday, and he said that it was really they were trying to get through the crowd, and they really had a hard time. He talked about that specifically,
yeah,
how many people there were.
all right, this one, and
Wow. Oh, that's a great shot.
That's amazing.
let's see if I can make this bigger. Yeah,
Wow.
this is more dense, but there wasn't space here. This is still not as dense
Yeah,
as,
this
and
yeah.
all along L Street, there were cars, there were people. I mean, it was all the way to like 19th Street. People are
Oh
backed
my
up,
God. Oh
uh,
my God, that's
coming out of
amazing.
their cars with signs. It was beautiful with flags. And it was all peaceful as far as we could see.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
everyone said.
Yeah, sorry, let me,
I got I mean, I felt so disheartened on when was it? Saturday morning, and I thought, "Oh, please, please, please." And seeing these protests all over the country, masses of people, and in red states too. It just has so buoyed me.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very encouraging.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for joining. We've got a full agenda, so I'm going to get started quickly. So I want to thank everybody for coming today, and also for anyone who's joining, who's their first time. Third Act Sacramento is truly a wonderful group for me, and for others. They're a wonderful group of people who are really committed to collective action to stabilize our democracy and work on climate and climate justice. We have so many teams for you to choose from, depending on what kinds of things you like to do, what your interests and joys are. So before I ask our speaker, former Mayor Heather Fargo, to present, I would love to ask if anyone is new or their first time to just say briefly state your name and why you've joined. And if you'd like to put your email in the chat so we can add you to our newsletter, but probably you've already put that in. Um, so anybody want to just say hi? And I see a couple new names. Luce, would you like to go?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Luz Lim, and I'm the policy analyst with ECO. So I'm here with Heather. Nice to meet you all.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Susan, would you like to say hi?
Yes, I'm live in Davis. I'm a retired architect, and I am a fighter for saving nature
Yay.
Fantastic. Love
and fighting for the democracy now. I can't stand Trump.
that. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Anyone else? Anyone else? No, I think that's it. Anyway, so what we're gonna go ahead and start. I want to introduce our speaker tonight. Um, Heather Fargo is the former mayor of Sacramento from 2000 to 2008, and she served for 11 years as council member for District 1. She helped resurrect the Sacramento chapter of the National Women's Political Caucus in 2009 and founded the Capital Women's Campaign in 2017 to encourage more women to flex their financial and political power. She was an early member of the Sacramento's Third Act. I would call her a founder. She's currently president of the Environmental Council of Sacramento, or ECOS, and co-chairs the Natomas team. She considers herself a community consultant assisting Sacramento area groups who seek equity and improvement to their communities. And she's going to talk about what she's been up to. Heather, please take it
Hmm.
away.
Well, thank you so much, Goldie, for inviting me, and it's good to see the third actors I know and the other third actors who have joined. It's great. You guys have a lot of fun, and I really appreciate what you do and really believe in the mission. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think it's actually having an impact. Collectively, we've got competition now with everyone else who wants to save democracy and the world. But hey, the more the better. The motivator in chief, I call him, is encouraging a lot of activism these days, which is wonderful. Although we wish we didn't have to do it. So I am, and I'm going to ask Luce if she can put the, actually, you know what would be great? Do you have the flyer that shows the three projects, the flyer that we just did last week, or that Ira did, that's red?
Yes, I'll look for it.
Okay, it's part of the email that Edith sent out this morning. So anyway, and I'm sending this email to Lori so she can send it to all of you if you would like to see it. So as I took on the presidency of the Environmental Council of Sacramento, partially because no one else was stepping up and partially because I'd been working on this Natomas campaign for a couple of years and thought, well, if I'm going to be spending all this time on that anyway, I should just step into this position for a while. And so, you know, ECOS is a very important organization in Sacramento. We've been around for over 50 years. And we're made up of about 20 different environmental organizations in Sacramento. Small ones like Save Our Sandhill Cranes and Friends of the Swainson's Hawk, to larger ones like Sierra Club and Native Plant Society, and organizations that have a national presence as well as a local presence. And a lot of organizations in between, focusing on the American River and just nature in Sacramento. So it's a great organization. I have a lot of expertise. We have committees that are focusing on climate change, which also has a transportation subcomponent to it. And we also have a water committee, which is very involved in the water quality and temperatures of the American River to make sure we can save the salmon, and also involved in the water forum, which is going to be renewed this year after 20 years. So I find myself working on things that, and we also have a Habitat 2020 committee. So anyone can be parts of our committees. You don't have to be on our board to be a part of our committee. And of course, you can join any of the many organizations we have that are our organization members. A lot of things. I mean, I worked on getting the Natomas Basin Habitat Conservation Plan established. Worked on the Natomas Joint Vision. Worked on all kinds of general plans. Was chair of SACOG when we did the blueprint. Made sure we had a Natomas Basin Habitat Conservation Plan. Worked on the water forum. A lot of things I worked on as mayor, I'm now working on again, which is in some ways encouraging and in other ways discouraging, because a lot of what we worked on, people are now trying to take apart as if the earlier plans don't mean anything and weren't worth doing. So this is the flyer that we just did to let people know about the upcoming meetings for the first two of these projects. But let me draw your attention to the map first of all. This is a portion of the Natomas Basin. Well, maybe I don't know. That's too big for my screen. I don't know whether you guys can see it or not, but back that up just a little bit, please. That would be better. What you see here is Interstate 5, Interstate 80, the American River on the south, the Sacramento River on the west. And so this is the portion of the Natomas Basin, which most of it is within the county of Sacramento. And then Sutter County is just north of us. And I have another map we can show you in a little bit to give you that context. But you see here the rivers, the canals, the freeways, the main roads that would be affected by these projects. And so it's more graphic than the other map we have, which is a little more figurative and deals with the habitat issues. But these projects total together about 8,000 acres of farmland that the developers would now like to pave over and build on. And so the Environmental Council of Sacramento is opposing all of these projects for really some similar reasons. And I'll get into that in a minute. The project that we're focusing on this week is the Airport South Industrial Project, which is kind of right there in the center. It is a 450-acre project made up exclusively of 6 million square feet of warehousing, as well as a little, highway commercial area with gas stations and a mini mart and stuff like that. The Upper West Side on the southern edge there is 2,000 acres. They want to build over 9,000 houses and also 3 million square feet of commercial, which is larger than the Roseville Galleria. Okay, just to put it in, it's the size of the town of Galt.
Oh, good heavens.
And then if you go to the north to Grand Park, those two together are 5,000 acres. The developers had a disagreement, so it's two separate projects instead of just one. But they're both going to be proceeding, and all of these are kind of moving forward at the same time. What you'll see there on the top of the screen on the left is Upper West Side is going to the County Planning Commission on June 23rd. And they will be making a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors about whether or not it should be approved. The Airport South project is going to the City Planning Commission the same week. One is Monday night, the other one is Thursday night, and that's going to the City Planning Commission. And they're going to be making a recommendation to the City Council on whether they should not only approve the project, but annex it to the city of Sacramento. And that is the only project that is going to go to the city council, because the other two are outside of the city limits and not planning on becoming part of the city at this point. The Airport South project is asking to be annexed to the city. And Luce, do you have a visual of the Airport South that we could put on, or the overall map? Either one would help me give them the rest of the context here.
Yeah, I'll pull up the overall map.
Yeah, that'd be good. So the overall map is of the entire Natomas Basin, which is mostly in Sacramento County, but partially in Sutter County. And what this map will show you is those three large projects, or I guess four of them now, in Salmon. And then what it'll also show you in green is the 5,000 acres that we have been able to acquire through the Natomas Basin Conservancy. And can you make that? Do other people see it? It's still too big for my screen, so it's perfect. So what you see here in Salmon, those are the three big projects. You see now the entire Natomas Basin, which is on the eastern side, the East Main Drain Canal, on the top, and also the Wada Parkway and Steelhead Creek. And there's also railroad tracks up there. And then on the northern side, that's the Natomas Cross Canal in Sutter County. The west side is the Garden Highway and the Sacramento River, and the south side is Garden Highway and American River. So what we've added to this map is the blue dotted line is the urban services boundary line. And that's the line that the county approved in 93, I believe, might have been 97, no, 93. And that is the line that the county agreed not to cross. They put that in place to advise the developers where they could build and where they couldn't. And there's some pretty strict rules that they have to follow in order, if they follow the county general plan. And of course, that's only a matter of votes, whether they choose to follow their own plan or not. But if they choose to follow it, they have to have 4 out of the 5 supervisors approve it. It's a super majority, not just a majority. And they have to meet certain criteria, like it's a special place, a special use, and uses that cannot be accommodated within the urban services boundary line. And I'm going to let Luce carry on for a minute while I get some water. My apologies.
Yep, I'm not sure where to continue, but are there any questions so far? None so far. Okay. We'll just hold on a minute.
Should have known that was going to happen, but anyway, what you see in green, that's the 5,000 acres which has been acquired, as permanent open space in the Natomas Basin. In order for the city to be allowed to build north of Interstate 80 into North Natomas, we had to sign a contract with the state and federal governments that we would establish a habitat conservation plan and that we would require developers to pay into it to make it a reality. So everybody north of the river, and actually some parts of South Natomas as well, I mean, parts of North Natomas, parts of South Natomas and all of North Natomas are part of, have developments that have paid into or will pay into the habitat conservation plan. And they have, they've acquired 5,000 acres. For every acre that is developed, they have to set aside a half an acre. And that was considered a good deal. And we got the good deal because there was also an agreement from the county at that point that there would be no development outside of the city limits in Natomas, which, as you can see, all of these projects violate that. So we agreed to the contract with the state and federal governments, as did Sutter County. So all of that hashtag area, the diagonal lines that are kind of in the light gray next to Metro, next to the airport in South and North Natomas and in Sutter County, those are all what is called permitted areas. Those areas have agreed to either set aside habitat or gather the money to for someone else to set aside the habitat, so that it would be managed by the Natomas Basin Conservancy, which is the nonprofit that manages all of this land. And it's managed for the endangered giant garter snake as well as the Swainson's hawk, which needs foraging habitat, which is why the agricultural land is so important, and why the canals in Natomas are so important for the snake. So we are at ECOS, we are very concerned about the county approving areas outside of that urban services boundary line because of the impact on the Natomas Basin Habitat Conservation Plan, which basically, if all of these are approved, the Conservancy will probably fail, the species will fail, and I'm not sure what happens to the city's ability to get any more take permits for development because we will not be honoring our agreement with the state and federal wildlife agencies. So, so we're opposing all of these projects for those reasons, but we're also, each one of them, at least the two that we've read the EIRs for, both Airport South and Upper West Side, they obviously cannot mitigate. There are 3 areas where they cannot mitigate to a reasonable level. So they're significant and unavoidable and cannot be mitigated for both Upper West Side and Airport South. One is the visual aesthetic loss of open space and farmland and being able to have open space and farmland around you. We don't make such a big deal of that, mainly because unlike the Bay Area and some other places where aesthetics seem to matter, people in Sacramento tend to not value that as much as we wish they did. But the second thing they can't mitigate, obviously, is the loss of farmland. The county Farm Bureau is opposed to these projects as well. And then the third area is the air quality impacts. There's no way that they can mitigate to a reasonable level, which means they will be spewing fumes and making our air quality worse in Sacramento, which we already, I believe, are number 5 in the nation for bad air quality. And it obviously, once you pave over farmland, you lose all of the carbon sequestration opportunities that you get with soil and farmland. So, and in this area in particular, because we have a higher water table, it's important that the water goes back into the soil and back into the land. And there's a lot of opposition from a lot of people on Upper West Side. The Airport South is more of certainly a local issue for people who live next door or for people who have children that go to the elementary school, which is right next to Airport South. That particular project is adjacent to an elementary school and it abuts the Westlake neighborhood. And none of those folks made plans for that. The school district has made it very clear they would not have placed that school there next to warehouses with diesel trucks. And the neighbors who live next to this property actually paid extra money to be on the edge and to be next to open space. And obviously their quality of life dealing with extra traffic, extra noise, the lights at night, as well as the the beeping up, going backwards, and the air quality, let alone having large million-square-foot warehouses next to what used to be a nice neighborhood. It's just not what we think should happen. So let me see if I'm remembering anything else I need to tell you. So what's going on right now is we've got these 2 meetings coming up very soon on the 23rd and on the 26th, and we're asking people to show up. And you guys are obviously really good with signs, so show up with signs. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. The most you're going to get is 3 minutes, which is we've actually, some of the meetings we've only been given a minute, because after you let the staff and the developer talk, there often isn't time for the public. So we're trying to give a briefing to every planning commissioner and every city council member and every supervisor before these meetings take place. But they're happening very, very close in succession, and there's a lot of people to reach out to. So we're doing pretty well that way. Obviously, since most of you probably don't know much about this, we haven't gotten a lot of attention from the media, which I find really sad. The Bee no longer has a reporter for either land use or the environment. So while we get coverage in the business journal, which is usually a little bit slanted towards the project actually happening, there's a lot of assumption that Airport South is going to be approved. But we keep saying that it shouldn't be. And just by way of background, we did have to go to LAFCO initially. Am I on my edge of my time? Probably. Where's my clock? Do I need to stop to let?
You have maybe a couple more minutes, and then
Okay, so we had to go to LAFCO, which is Local Agency Formation Commission. They are in an organization that every county has, made up of 2 supervisors, 2 council members, couple of special districts people, and a public member. And we were able to have 60 speakers. I think it was 700 pages of comments, and what else? So we were able to, and we have a petition with over 1,200 people who have signed. But we still were voted 7-0 to approve the project. So it is going on to the city council after it goes to planning commission. Planning commission will make a recommendation, but frankly, the next place for a decision is city council, which will be in August. At least at this point, they're planning for August 12th. So, and then for Upper West Side, we're going to the County Planning Commission the same week, and they're making a recommendation, which will then go on to the County Board of Supervisors. So we have, because we had a 30-day deadline after the LAFCO decision, we did go ahead already and file our first lawsuit. And so we'll see how that plays out. But we think we're going to win that lawsuit, and when we get our legal fees back, then we'll file that into the lawsuit over the Upper West Side, because we have no choice in Natomas but to assume that these projects will be approved. But we are going to fight like hell until they are, and we would love to have you guys on our side. We'd love you to show up. Even if you just sit in the audience and don't speak, that would be fine. The email which you're going to receive has emails for all the city council members. So feel free to reach out to your favorites and or all of them, and help us out. And with that, I'm going to be quiet for a while and let who had to speak? Oh, Ruth has to speak before she goes, and then we'll come back to questions and answers for me. Is that right?
Sorry, you guys. Thank you so much, Heather. Ruth has to go to Make Polluters Pay meeting, so we're going to have her do the team update real quick, and then we'll go back to questions.
Well, thanks so much, Heather, and I'm sorry that we have to interrupt. So
There's a lot to say about it, so please, it's your turn. I'll have some water.
Yeah, and I know we've been having conversations with you, so we'd love to follow up on that. So Polluters Pay, Pat and I are sort of helping to lead the effort, and then Pat also has to go. So I'm going to sort of talk briefly because there's not a whole lot to say. Pat has been trying with yeoman service, trying for us to actually meet Ashby in person, so far without success. We've done an amazing job on the letters, so thank you all who have written letters. We deliver letters for the last 3 weeks every day to Ashby, and now actually delivering them to her. We started at her district office and are now delivering them to her legislative office, which always gives us an opportunity to talk to somebody. So I'm actually going to turn that part of the campaign over to Pat, since Pat and Ray are the fearless leaders on that part of the campaign.
Um, so we've been doing our best to get information about what Angelique Ashby's questions might be, what her concerns might be, and importantly, what kind of position she may take on the bill. And she and her office have been masterful at deflecting, giving us the kind of information that we need and that I believe we deserve as constituents. So now we have a commitment that we'll be able to meet with her key legislative aide, and that person will give us information about the questions that Angelique has. So I'm in the process of setting that up, and soon we may get more information. Beyond that, we're also making outreaches to union members, union representatives, and getting information about what's worked in New York City and New York State regarding unions, knowing that the major opposition on this bill seems to be with building trades. So it's taken us into areas I had no idea it would take us to. And it's both very interesting and very frustrating. So persistence furthers. And as soon as we get more information from the legislative office, we'll want to mobilize to take advantage of that information. So very soon, we hope to get back to you and say, this is what we can do.
So to follow up on that, the reason for the building trades opposing it, they're sort of fronting for the oil and gas industry. And they're afraid of that the one-time fee is going to cause the industry to raise prices, and they're going to lose their job because of higher prices, and that it's a big hit on the working class. Not to mention actually that the fund itself would be really important to the working class, to everybody, not just the building trade. So, but they're fronting for that. Fortunately, the bill is an urgency measure, so it doesn't have to comply with the legislative deadlines as regular bills. We were hoping to get something attached to the budget, but I don't think that's happened because we would have heard. So both bills are stuck in their respective judiciary committees. We also, a strategy that I think will be really important is talking to our local elected officials so that the city and the county can then say, this money is really critical to Sacramento in order for Sacramento to build the kind of infrastructure, particularly in low-income communities, so that they can be safe in the heat, because heat is rising and it's going to be really devastating for ag in the Central Valley, and also for, areas like Meadowview and Oak Park and others that don't have the cooling centers, and the houses are old and don't have the appropriate air conditioning. All of that stuff could be paid for through this polluter's pay. So that's the next strategy, is really to have, I talked to Roger Dickinson's chief of staff, who shared all kinds of great information. And he said, we really need to talk to the local building trades, that the trades actually can be divided and conquered, except we just have to find the right people. So I have to sort of circle back with him and see who is somebody that they might recommend that we could talk to with the building trades, just to hear what their needs are and concerns are. and really try and work that angle.
All right. Thank you so much. And you guys, thanks for going to that other meeting for us. So ready for questions for Heather. Thank you for that great presentation.
Thanks for letting us go early. Appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Right.
All right.
Bye, all.
Susan's up first. Thank you. Susan, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say I would volunteer to talk to the building trades since I'm an architect, and I'm also very well educated in the green building industry. So, and then I wanted to tell you about, well, maybe she's off now, but there's a lawyer in England that has created a ecocide law, but they also have provisions for the people that do the polluting or destroying the nature. And it goes under the duty of care. And I think that language, that legalese language, it does throw people in jail. Business provisions, a political provision, and a financial provision. So they're going after banks, corporations, and businesses that do that kind of thing. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel maybe, or use that to build a even better language for going after the polluters. I think it'd be a good idea. For instance, they are fracking on the San Andreas. How unsafe is that? It's a triple
Already
threat.
fracked.
It's a
Oh my
triple
God.
threat because when they frack, they put poisons down into the underground water supply.
Yeah.
And then they're doing it on the dang fault, which could, trigger a big earthquake and plus pollute the air. So it's a triple threat that they don't even care. They even have fracking machines in Beverly Hills. So I'll
Thanks,
let that
Susan.
go. Yeah.
If you could put your email in the chat, I will get it to Ruth, because I think she would love that idea of you reaching out to the building trades folks. Okay.
I think you need to reach out to the political cartoonists as well. I mean, that fracking in the San Andreas Fault, that's pretty humorous. You could really, Jack Oman could do something with that. He still lives in Sacramento. He works for the Chronicle now, but he still lives in Sacramento.
What what's his name again?
Jack Oman, he was with the Bee till he got fired from the Bee. The Bee
Oh.
doesn't have a political cartoonist anymore, just like they don't have reporters for land use or the environment anymore. It's a sad situation, but
All right. I
yeah,
have
but
a question on
dividing and
the,
conquering would be good.
what did you say? You said
Dividing and conquering with the unions
yes.
would be good. Like, why don't, like, you go for the girl unions, get the CNA to support you.
DNA. Okay, I love it.
California Nurses Association, get the CTA to support you.
Yeah, that sounds
I
really
mean, get the girls to show up. No offense, Luke, but how it is. Because they show up at our meetings as well with their orange vests on saying, well, we need the jobs. And I go, well, the jobs are going to go with the development. I mean, if these warehouses aren't built here, they'll be built somewhere else. You'll then get to work there instead of here. We're not saying we don't want you to build warehouses, anybody in the region, but do it at McClellan Air Force Base or do it in South Sac or North Sac where they're looking for investments. Do it along I-5 in North Natomas where they don't have any demand for offices for the area that was zoned for offices, build warehouses. I mean, they made an exception for Costco. What the hell? Anyway.
Heather, the question I had for you is, I just cannot believe that out of all the commissioners, none of them voted on.
Wasn't it shocking? Yeah. And
was,
not only
that
that, none of them would explain why. Not one person went on the record. I mean, they started that last meeting saying, we really don't want to hear from the public anymore. That was Pat Hume and Rich Desmond. But the staff said, well, it's a public meeting. We kind of have to. And so they gave us, they let a few of us speak. And then, but then when they voted no, or voted for the project, it was unanimous, and not even one of the commissioners who told me the day before she was going to vote against it went ahead and voted for it. And not one person would put on the record why they were voting that way.
It's crazy. You think if we had the bee, somebody would reach out and ask them, and put the information on.
Yeah.
You have your hand up.
We're hoping for an editorial soon out of the Bee. We're working with them.
Oh, good.
They're definitely very concerned about the Upper West Side project. I think You know, if it was in any of your neighborhoods, 450 acres would be a big deal. You know, anywhere in the city except Natoma's, 450 acres, twice the size of Land Park. For God's sakes, it would be a big deal. But since it's just Natoma's, you know, it's just farmland, it's just open space, it's just out there. There's just an assumption that it's okay. So it's an uphill battle. Hi, Luke.
Hi. Politically, are there specific council members that you think we should be working on?
The only one not to work on is Lisa Kaplan because she is conflicted out. She lives in the neighborhood that would be right next to the warehouses, and so she's not allowed to vote. Phil Pluckybaum already, so the neighborhood's feeling a little unrepresented right now. And
Yeah.
I mean, if I was mayor, I would have appointed somebody, one of the other council members, to represent them in the interim, but that hasn't happened yet. So I don't think it's going to. So I'd say any of the ones that you, I mean, the only people that, you know, the three council members north of the river, in addition to Lisa, are Roger Dickinson and Karina Talamontes. I would definitely reach out to them. For the rest of the people, I think they need to know that this is a regional issue. This is going to totally screw up I-5 and 80. If you think it's hard to get to the airport now or to Woodland, good luck when you've got, you know, 6 million square feet of warehouses and 5,000 people coming and going every day. You know, if you care about kids and air quality and cancer, you know, I mean, I would think, I mean, Mai Vang and Katie talk a lot about kids and how important it is to honor them and support them. Well, here's something you could do. Eric Guerra's on CARB. He's focused on air quality. He'd be a good person to talk to. But I think all of them should hear from us. Unfortunately, Phil Pluckybaum already voted for the project because he's Lisa's alternate on LAFCO. So, but I'd still like to know why he did it. And I assume that means he's going to vote for it at the council, but maybe not. Maybe he wanted the sphere of influence, but not the project. You know, when they won't say anything, it's kind of hard to know. I mean, it's not the end of the world if they approve an annexation, but it's not a good thing because since annexation is usually the first step towards development, it's not, you know, this project, even if you wanted to build 6 million square feet of warehouse, this probably is not where you'd put it. I mean, if people are concerned about, you know, 60 homes next to Curtis Park, shouldn't they be worried about 6 million square feet of warehouse next to a neighborhood? I mean, we had to wait for the Curtis Park event for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours for that project. We didn't start public testimony at the last planning commission meeting till after 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
So it's the process has been horrible, and they need to be called on that. Like I say, we've already filed one lawsuit, and so we're also fundraising for litigation. But yeah, I reach out to all of them. One thing to remember about this project, which I think is, to me, it's fascinating as a government nerd, is that this project was on the city's consent calendar 4 years ago. And I found it on the consent calendar, being the government nerd that I am. And I didn't know what it was. And it really surprised me. And it seemed kind of big and in the wrong place, but there wasn't much information about it. So I checked with some of my environmental friends who had been involved in the Natoma Space and Conservancy and those issues and the litigation over that, and asked them what they knew about it, because the settlement agreement for that litigation requires the city to notify U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and Fish and Game if they want to build in the non-permitted area. They don't get to do that legally without going back and changing the plan, updating the plan and getting permission. So when I raised the issue and asked that it be taken off the consent calendar, they did, but then they decided to take it off the agenda altogether. And under, you know, the former city manager's guidance, they sent it directly to LAFCO. So no city council has ever heard this issue. None of these hearings have been in front of the city council, which has the ultimate decision to decide whether or not to annex and whether or not to approve this project. And I find that appalling. But we were not able under Darrell Steinberg to get anybody to call it back to the council for a hearing. So we've been working on this one for 4 years.
Thank you, Heathers, for all your hard work and for this great presentation. We're gonna, let's see, at 6, I'm not sure how much time you have if you want to stay, because if people have more questions, that will end the regular part at 5:30, and then if people have more questions.
I have a meeting at 6 with someone who's going to help us do some of the community organizing up in the North Lake area, which used to be Greenbrier. We hadn't been able to locate anybody up there for the HOA was still being run by the builders, and they didn't have any residents on it yet. So they finally established one, and I need to talk with her. So my first meeting with her is tonight at 6. So I can stay till 6, but then I'm going to have to bail. So
All right, we have one more question, and we're kind of going off the schedule at this moment. So Lori,
okay,
that'll be the last one. Lori,
I'll
go
make
ahead.
it quick.
Lori?
You're muted. Hi.
Okay, what you sent me, I'll send to our membership, but it has meeting dates of the 26th and August 12th. What about the 23rd?
The 23rd is actually under August 12th. I would have done it a little bit differently, but under August 12th, it says note, there is also a meeting on the Upper West Side project on June 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little understated, but part of the reason for that is this particular email was going out to those residents that live right around Airport South. We have a whole nother group of people who are focused on Upper West Side, including the Garden Highway property owners who are really good at litigation and raising money, and they're connected well enough that they're helping us a lot to reach out to people.
So what you want Third Act to do is show up at these meetings and contact our city council people?
City council members
Okay,
and board of
thank you.
supervisors. So yeah, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you so
Okay.
much,
Help.
you guys. We really appreciate it, Luz and
Okay.
Heather. All right, so we're gonna move on, you guys, and before we're gonna do the team reports, and try to do it pretty fast. And I just wanted to, just before we started, I wanted to thank everybody who took action this Saturday, who was able to take action. Whether it was going to the Capitol, whether it was helping us with the skit, and also the meal train that everybody helped with. I'm so grateful to see Mishi doing so well. She's been ill, but I think you really, you didn't even feel ill. Really, you just had some procedures. So actually major surgery, if I may say. But thank you to everybody who's helped. Your kindness and generosity. And anyway, so we're gonna go, let's see, we did the legislative, we're gonna go to CalPERS Tuesdays. Diana said she's got grandparent duty, so I'm just gonna say, remind everybody that we have CalPERS Tuesdays from noon to 1 at about 400 Q Street. And tomorrow it's gonna be the meditation. We'll have a different meditation teacher. Basically, we're trying to get CalPERS to divest from fossil fuels. And so this one is going to be the usual on the third Tuesday, where we have folks either doing sitting meditation for 30 minutes and then a walking meditation. We'd love to have you be there. And if you don't feel like meditating, that's cool. We'll have, you can help us with holding signs or just talking to folks, passing out flyers. We usually do it when it's around lunchtime, so people come through, pass by, and we just talk to them. Next one would be Ron or Faith. Do you want to tell us a couple of things how people can get involved with the Sunday celebration in September? And we're just doing 2 minutes each.
Well, there's a couple things that we have to decide pretty soon, but I think we've made some progress. I think that the contacts are going well. I'd like to get a little more input from Chris as to what kind of speakers he's planning on bringing in. Do you have any idea, Goalie?
I think we can decide together. You know, basically we try to get people that represent climate justice, and also folks from the community that are doing, for example, you know, different. It can also be some of the people who are doing interesting, innovative solar, because for pretty much everybody is familiar. Maybe Susan is not familiar with the Sunday. This is a national day that Bill McKibben, the founder of Third Act, has come up with this idea that would hopefully would be celebrated throughout all of the United States with the Third Act working groups that would be equivalent to an Earth Day celebration, focusing on the benefits of solar energy and all of the renewable energies and any innovation. So I think, Faith, we can definitely come up with ideas and add stuff to what they already do.
Okay, Bill, I think you can probably come up with a short list and then we'll start contacting people.
It's just to highlight renewable energy, because that is certainly not going to happen in the next 4 years by the administration, even though it's the cheapest energy form known. Next thing is, I think I mentioned about the connections and actions. Lori, is there anything else that you want to talk about with connections and actions? That's our team that helps organize. Well, I'll let Lori talk.
Just that Connections and Actions did a fabulous job with the skit, and thank you, Catherine, for organizing that, and everybody who participated, including our Trump in diapers. I was so impressed. Connections and Actions is the fun group. So if you want to be part of the fun resistance, join us. It'll be the first Monday of next month.
Yeah, our meetings are at, let's see, what time are they? At
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Yeah.
This Monday.
Just let me know if you want to be notified.
Okay. Ron is not here, but there's also a writers group. Faith, can you say a couple of lines about that?
Oh, sure. We're well settled into a routine of sending out letters, and we just started expanding the list for press releases a little bit. We're going to add our local legislators, and I think that'll be a good idea to kind of get Third Act's connections and activities out in front of the legislators. And I think that's about it for the letter writing.
Thank you. How about you, Linda? Can you tell us about your postcard parties? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Sorry about that. Tomorrow at 10, we're meeting. And next Wednesday, the 25th at 10. And I'll be putting out a schedule for July at the end of the month. So I continue to have about 8 to 10 people show up every time. So we get about 140 cards out each week. We're writing to San Joaquin Valley voters to put pressure on their Republican representatives who are doing all these awful things. So
you guys also wrote to CalPERS board members letters, right?
I personally did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and Linda, it's just an amazing host. She serves food, and I'm sure you give tours of your garden, and it's just a whole group of folks who get together and write political postcards to help.
Last week we had a Zook and Cuke lottery because I'm getting an abundance of zucchini at this point, and so it's a good way to get rid of it.
Fantastic. I'm gonna let's see. Thank you so much, Linda, for the work that you're doing. I see Catherine just came on, and Catherine, I don't know if you got to hear Lori talk about what a great, amazing job you and the group did. So can you tell us anything, if you want to give any updates about?
Or did you have any pictures to show?
I showed them in the beginning.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can show them while you're talking if you like.
It probably doesn't matter. Everyone's seen it. I just think we had a blast, and it was a wonderful cooperation, working together group. So that was just part of the fun, you know? And that's one of the things that really made me think about, I'm in the car, by the way. I'm not driving, by the way. Is just how important it is to have fun. And you know, it's hard. We're hoeing a tough row right now, and but we can have fun and still make a difference. That was like a big takeaway for me. And so I just, you know, I can't even name everyone, but Goalie, Lori was there. Trina came to art builds. Faith was there. Raylene helped sometimes. Carol posted on Facebook and Instagram, which was fantastic because that's always a big thing. And we tried to bump him off. and Luke was there, and Gary was there. Gary Washburn. Oh, and Tim. Oh no, actually, I'm sorry, I got confused. Tim Washburn. My husband's correcting me. Anyway, we had so much fun, and I want to do it again. And I think we could use that same skit. I have some ideas, some new ideas, but you know, I think we did it 5 times or 6 times, including 2 rehearsals. And every single time it got better. And like by the 3rd time, it was really fantastic. And the 4th, you know, I mean, so that was great. It was fun. We're starting a theater group. That's it.
Thank
You're
you
all
so much,
invited.
Catherine. And
Oh,
and
and
I
Patricia too. Patricia
yeah, I was gonna
there.
say she brought her didgeridoo. Thank you so much.
Oh, that was great.
So cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Catherine, so much. And Tim also, he's not here, but he did help a lot as well. And everybody else who helped. And then also Marianne, who held down the fort, the tabling, while we were walking through. She's holding down the fort and talking to people. So thank you so much.
And she was also at the art builds.
And
Thank you.
art bills, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just to say, it wasn't just me, Luke, and a few other people who came from the dramatic performance also helped at the tabling, but we gave out all of our Make Polluters Pay flyers, over 150. So many people were unaware of the legislation and were very, very much in support. So we told them to use the QR code and get to Angelique Ashby and so on. A lot of other types of flyers we handed out. Luke handed out lots of other kinds of flyers as well. So we need more flyers made. And yeah, they just need to go into the file box. But we had a lot of people who were interested in our group. We got, Luke, 4.5 pages of new people to receive the newsletter, something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Luke. I didn't say that. You also helped so much with both the skit and helping set up, and then also today. All right, next team, Carol, you want to tell us what you guys do? You're muted. Sorry.
Of course. Yes, we're in charge of the social media. So we're posting in Facebook and Instagram. Richard Grow has been doing an excellent job of handling those posts, but he's on vacation. So I'm doing what I can to fill back in. I was just looking up our stats, and the video from that skit is one of our all-time highs of viewership and yeah, and engagement, and so were the photos from the skit. So it was a very popular activity. So I think that encourages the idea of doing some more of it. I don't have too much to say, but if the same thing I always say is, if you want to help our posts get seen by other people, the best way to do that is to engage with the post, open it, look at it, watch the whole video if it's a video, like it or heart it or whatever you feel like doing, making a comment, and then sharing if you want. All of those activities make whatever we post go out further to other people without us having to spend the dollars, which we're not allowed to do. So that's it.
All right, thank you so much. And then Luke does our volunteers. He works, he's our volunteer coordinator and does an amazing job. Go ahead, Luke, anything?
Yeah, we got a lot of names at the demonstration on Saturday, which means we got phone calls to do. So I'll have more opportunities for calling people coming up here in the next several days, and that's about it. We're up to, I think we're about at 700 people on our mailing list now. So.
That's awesome. Fantastic job. Thank you. And then Lori, tell us about any, I mean, you're doing incredible work with the newsletter. Do you need help?
I got the name of somebody who's interested in helping with it. Right now I'm doing fine, and I can do it even when I'm on vacation or traveling or something. So what I need, I'm trying to put out something once a week, and what I need from you guys is keeping me abreast of what's going on. Because I'm not involved in all the different groups. So
All right. Thank you. We so appreciate your work. It's awesome. And then let's see, we're right on time, I think. Have I left anybody that wants to give an update about? Sometimes I make errors like that. Everybody cool? Oh,
I
Trina.
had a question.
Yes, please.
At the Capitol, at the protest, there was a woman handing out, well, she was asking people if they were on CalPERS or CalSTRS, and she was handing out, I guess, a flyer about going to a meeting, I, like the board meeting, I assume, to talk about fossil fuels. I don't know if I didn't get who it was, but I don't know if somebody here knows who that was or what, if that's a different organization.
Was it at our table?
No, she was just walking around asking
Okay.
people if they were in CalPERS or CalSTRS, so just going through the crowd.
Luke?
Yeah, Patricia, have you gotten the information about the board member that's looking to talk to PERS members at an open meeting just with her? Did you get
I'm
something on
not in
that?
CalPERS or CalSTRS. I just
Oh, okay. You aren't a member. Okay.
Yeah, I just saw or she asked me if I was, and then she was asking other people, and she was handing out a little flyer about a meeting to protest the investments, and so I just was wondering who it was or what organization that was.
Maybe it was Fossil Free California. I'm not sure. I know that we meet with them every other week because of the CalPERS things, and so we're trying to keep track and also attend the board meetings as well.
Okay.
And then I was going to ask Trina, because you've been attending those meetings with the what do you call it? Sorry, I can't think here. Indivisible on Sundays. Can you talk a little bit about that? And then we're going to be pretty much done with this.
Sure, yeah. Every second Sunday, there's a kind of a coalition against Project 2025 meeting. It's at the Oak Park Brewery. We pretty much take over their patio. It's a lot of fun. We hear from Sister District, Indivisible, 5051. I spoke one time about Make Polluters Pay. There's always postcards, there's always lots of networking, and the food is really good. So if you're free on a second Sunday, it's 2 to 4 in the afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, so you guys, sorry it was all kind of regimented just to get us to this point. At this point, I'm going to open it up. Comments, questions, anything you want to talk about? Thanks, Trina. Anybody? I have an item real quick I want to mention. So there's Activate America has phone banking on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 3 to 5, to hold Republicans accountable in swing districts. And let me see if I can put the link in the chat. So that's one important thing that I think we could do if people are interested. But usually after an hour we have, oh, hey, Heather, thanks for joining us back.
Oh,
And
I've been here. I
oh,
just
you've
have
been here.
my-
I didn't know. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go. Let's see. Laura's got her hand up, and then Heather. Go ahead, Lori.
I'm going to turn off the recording. I think this is the time.